Well, Super Bowl 46 has come and gone, but not without leaving a lasting impact. TV broadcast ever. So what about fans outside of the US, like here in China? BON's Ian Jacobs has more.
For American football fans in Beijing, the glitz and glamour of the Super Bowl wasn't lost on the fact that they were on the other side of the world during one of the biggest sporting events of the year. Expats living in China got together at Grinders Bar. It's the second Super Bowl party Grinders has hosted, and owner Trevor Metz is happy with this year's turnout.
I was surprised. It started off a little bit slow, I thought, but then things just started getting like the game. A lot of momentum, a lot of people started showing up. Everybody seems to be having a pretty good time. Lots of Bloody Marys going, lots of mimosas. It's going all right.
Grinders opened its doors just before last year's Super Bowl, and much of the crowd are returning for a second year and have now become regular customers. Embracing the fact that they don't exactly live in a football-crazy city like New York or Boston, they're happy to watch the game at a familiar place.
Super Bowl is one of those days where, you know, it's good to be around other expats and watch the game in an environment like that, you know, where, you know, just like you feel like you're back in the West, you know, back in California. You know, waking up at 5:30 a.m. is definitely a different feeling than, you know, watching the game at 3:30, but still gives it's that homely atmosphere that it really is.
Breakfast is served as soon as doors open at 6 a.m. and can be accompanied by a choice of Bloody Marys, mimosas, or coffee for those that have to work later in the day. Beijing is a half day ahead of North American cities, which means the game kicks off in the early hours of Monday morning, and fans have to face the realities of life once the party ends.
Yeah, I got to go to work right after this, but, you know, luckily my bosses, the Chinese, and, you know, really great people, and they knew the importance of this game, so they said, hey, take the morning off, see you early afternoon. I said, great. It's definitely a big adjustment between, you know, wings and beers, you know, for happy hour at a bar, but, you know, it's good nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? I'm up, I'm animated for the game, you know, I thought that was going to be a good game.
It took a while to convince my wife to get up this early. She's like, what's Super Bowl? And I was like, oh, you know, it's the biggest one-day sporting event in the world, honey. We got to do this. And now she's here, and it's been a great help.
And as the game began to wind down and stress levels began to rise, fans made it quite clear that regardless of who won, fans of football got the entertainment they came for. For East West Sports on BON, I'm Ian Jacobs.
Let's welcome Ian into the studio now. So Ian, the Super Bowl, obviously a big-time spectacle in the U.S. beyond just the game. Now, here in China watching it, did you get that sense, or were there some things that you might have missed out on?
Yeah, absolutely. There was quite a few differences, obviously, from being here and watching it back in the States. A few of the guys that I spoke to said that they missed a few things. The first being the commercials. We actually had a Chinese feed, so we didn't get some of the the entertainment that you get back in the States. Another thing people said that they missed out on were the prop bets. You know, the Super Bowl is known for their ridiculous prop bets. For example, how long will it take before Kelly Clarkson reveals her midriff during the national anthem? Things like that. And then thirdly, I think just the overall atmosphere. You know, it was a different time zone, a different day even, as opposed to, you know, it wasn't Sunday afternoon, which leaked into the evening. It was a Monday morning before work. You had to get up pretty early to watch it. So those were sort of the things that were obviously quite different from back in the States.
Okay, so you might have missed out on a few things. Now, what about vice versa? Anything that being here in China was different, or something that you got that you maybe wouldn't have gotten being in the U.S.?
Yeah, there was a couple of things, which was actually, there was one really funny moment. Because at least when the Super Bowl was on, fireworks were still allowed, which meant that anybody could light off fireworks really at any given time. And there was a couple of really big plays in the second half that were met with fireworks right outside the bar, and we all had a good little laugh saying that we may be halfway around the world, but we can guarantee you that there won't be fireworks going on in some of the major cities in the States at the moment, which was just kind of cool.
For the rest of this discussion and much more, check out our website at bon.tv/EWS.